What's up guys, my name is Robin, welcome to a new video. Sorry about the month-long delay, but anyways, let's get started. Today I'm doing a review of Green Arrow Quiver by Kevin Smith and Phil Hester. So the story of Oliver Queen coming back from the dead is actually a very interesting one. Green Arrow Quiver is essentially a murder mystery story, but instead of trying to find out how someone died, you're trying to find out how they came back to life, this obviously being Oliver Queen. But all through this entire huge mystery story of how he came back from the dead, you also get this really interesting story about how important Green Arrow is to the Justice League, to his friends, and to his family. In the first issue of the story, it's basically essentially how each of the members of the Arrow family are coping with his death, and even after him being dead for several months to a few years, it feels really odd considering the fact that they're all remembering him now, how Connor Hawke's reacting, how Black Canary's reacting, how Roy Harper's reacting. And throughout the story, you really get to see what Oliver meant to them, and how they really changed Oliver's life, and how Oliver changed their lives. Now, one thing which I really found to be really interesting in the story is how actual little the Green Arrow family is actually in the story, as it's really focused on how Oliver comes back and what Oliver means to them without him actually really being there. There are several points where they almost meet but they don't, and the final reuniting of Oliver and Dinah and Oliver and Roy is really heartwarming and really interesting to see. Also, this also contains Connor Hawke and Oliver meeting while Connor's an adult, and it's a really interesting scene, and it's a really captivating moment when the two of them finally meet and talk and discuss their lives. And the story is essentially about life and how important it is and how you should not take it for granted. I absolutely love this story for many reasons, and other than Green Arrow being my favorite superhero, it has a lot of other elements that I love. It's got a lot of sci-fi and fantasy elements in here. Batman's in it for a good chunk. It also introduces Mia Dearden, who will become the next Speedy, and she's really cool and gives you her backstory. And the way you see the emotional manipulation by her pimp, essentially, is really interesting, and it all really ties back to life and how you choose to live it and what you should be doing with your life and how important your life is to the lives of other people. You can definitely see this when the Justice League react to Oliver coming back, of how Superman reacts, how Aquaman reacts, and how Batman reacts. It's very heartwarming, and it also reminds you of how important Green Arrow is to them and to the Justice League. He might just be a guy with a bow and arrow to some, but to many people he keeps them honest, which is what Green Lantern said to him in Justice League Unlimited. So, what do I think of Green Arrow Quiver? It is written fantastically. I absolutely love the way it's written. The characters all work really well, and they really do portray Green Arrow's liberalism without making him come off as this SJW, let's just keep it like that. And it is actually really interesting, and he is essentially the superhero version of Bernie Sanders, and, well, I can't help but love that. I also generally do like the art. It's quite cartoony, which gives it this timeless feel. I do feel it's a bit iffy in places. For example, Mia and Black Canary both look the same despite the 20-year age gap. But overall, I do love the art, and it gets really crazy towards the end of the book, and I really do love how the art portrays that. So overall, Green Arrow Quiver is one of my favorite Green Arrow stories, and one which I definitely recommend to you. So you can pick the story up in a couple of different ways, either physically or digitally. The first way is through single issues if you feel so inclined, but you can also get the trade paperback or the Green Arrow by Kevin Smith collection. I personally have the physical version of the Kevin Smith collection because you also get Sounds of Violence, and the Sounds of Violence trade itself is actually quite expensive, so this is a very easy way of getting that too. Also, Sounds of Violence is another fantastic Green Arrow story, which I also recommend that you guys take a look at. Thank you all for watching.